um episódio especial lá para o YouTube relativo aos comentários dos diretores. Vamos lá começar a ver. Eu sou capaz de estar mutado em alguns pontos porque eu vou estar a comer ao mesmo tempo que estou a ver os vídeos, mas quando for para comentar eu só simplesmente desmuto e comento. Em princípio isto aqui vai estar com legendas em português, para quem não souber inglês. Eu vou estar mais atento ao inglês, que eu simplesmente sei melhor inglês do que português. Isto chega a ser estúpido.
It was really great to see so many fan arts, so many letters, so many fiction, cosplays.
The reaction were fantastic, way beyond our craziest expectations.
It was impossible to expect a huge community like this and so passionate fans,
Yeah,
and it's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We started the project by making the game we wanted to make for ourselves, but at the end it's really making a game for the players because that's what's important.
So welcome to the dev commentary of Life is Strange. We're really happy to be there and talk about the game. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
I'm Raoul Barbet, one of the co-game director of the game.
And I'm Michel Kor, the other co-game director of the game.
We are two game directors working on one.
Que merda é um co-diretor? Normalmente tem um diretor, certo?
thing to work
Ou se calhar co-diretor é o título porque tem dois diretores, agora eu estou a pensar, yeah.
It's a really interesting creative process because we can challenge each other on a lot of aspects and find always the better solution for what's best for the game.
If only Michel or Raoul was directing the game would have been really different. They both know how to make a game. Like they're not stuck in their field of expertise. They know a lot of things about each department, and they had this direct contact with the teams.
I'm more from the audiovisual and movie scene, so I was in charge of all the cameras with the camera team. I work a lot with the sound design team also, with the music.
And myself, since I'm from an illustration background, my specialties were more on the art direction, and later.
Dois diretores, um em cada área.
Way more with the narrative team.
É capaz de dar correto. Deu correto neste caso. Eles provavelmente trabalharam muito bem em equipe. Só que normalmente isso diria dar merda. Que isso depende muito de um trabalho em equipe enorme.
Actually, Michel and Raoul are in the game when you think about it, because there are two game directors. So we have a contraction, which is Michel. But if you put it the other way around, it's Raoul and Michel, so it's Rachel. I'm pretty sure they did it on purpose.
The idea
Oh.
of the game was to
Eia, mano, o que esse gajo acabou de falar? Eia.
remember me, and there was some sequences.
Rachel, ok.
Memory remixes, and one of the founders, Hervé Bonin, asked this small core team to think about a game with this kind of mechanism. Very quickly came the episodic adventure game because we wanted really to do something like that.
There is really a lot of new ways to interactive ways to tell stories.
On an episodic format, you have to make a lot of choice for episode 1 because you won't be able to change after. A lot of assets have to be there in episode 1. So the menu is one of those assets.
It was interesting because there was a lot of variations. We did a lot of tries of what we wanted to show in this menu. The idea was really to basically show the most important locations of the game. We can see the Blackwell Academy on the top right. We can see the lighthouse. We can see the town of Arcadia Bay. We were really trying to give a sense of location and just showing like the game world with the menu.
We really wanted to make the player feel that all areas are connected, and the menu is a great way to do that.
One of the main importance for us for the game was to have a peaceful game with this sense of you can take your time, and we wanted to reflect that.
Um jogo pacífico no qual tu podes tomar o teu tempo. Chega ao episódio 5. Então tens aqui uma merda que é basicamente contra o tempo. Boa sorte. Ai, se não fosse nosso poder voltar no tempo, nós estávamos tão fodidos tantas vezes de jogo, mano. Tomar o seu tempo, eu adorei essa frase deles. O episódio 1 até é, o episódio 2 ainda vai, o episódio 3, 4 e 5 já não é assim.
The game takes place in Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, in the United States. When I went back there on vacations, I've seen a lot of places that really looks like what we did in the game. So I guess it was a really big job of references to be sure that everything was correct. But it's also something that's really exciting about making a game, that you have to look at everything and to reproduce reality, and with of course our own lens and stylizations. But we really wanted this to feel like being in Oregon. Sometimes people ask us if we choose to have a game in the United States for marketing, for selling the game. We knew that we were fans of like TV shows like Twin Peaks or X-Files. They have those trees and the Pacific Northwest feeling.
I think they are a great example of a small community thinking that everybody know each other and everybody is happy, but when you put something inside this community, it could be something supernatural. You discover a lot more.
And it's really a way to shift things around and to bring chaos and interesting variations on the characters. And in the end, Life is Strange is really a game and a story about the characters, about their lives. It's not a story about the sci-fi elements. The sci-fi elements are just for us. They were just here to make things interesting.
Sinceramente, é interessante ver a perspectiva de dois diretores, da maneira como eles pensaram. Isto é basicamente tipo. Que o jogo basicamente se passava em Oregon, tipo, essa merda. Aquilo parece muito da área de Oregon, então, já era meio óbvio. Mas mesmo assim é interessante ver que eles criaram primeiro e depois é que foram lá e repararam que era parecido. Porque eles primeiro foram pelas duas séries, tipo, viram que as duas séries tinham aquele tipo de árvores, caraças, começaram a fazer baseado naquelas duas séries que eles gostavam e foi interessante. Gostei bastante deste Director Cut, deixa-me fechá-lo. O próximo é... Vamos jogar Life is Strange. Este aqui tem 6 minutos e 20. Vambora. Matei. Matei, aparentemente eu matei-o. Calma aí, o que é que se passou? Olha. 5 segundos, deixa-me ver aqui. Acho que eu matei, mano.
Okay, so let's
Não, voltou.
play the game and
Yeah, let's play Life is Strange. So this is the very beginning of the game. I think this is one of the very difficult sequence of the beginning of the production, because this is the first time the player will see what the game looks like and will be inside the story. So we got a lot of discussion about this one and a lot of discussion about the shots, how we are going to present Mac's character. The important, as this is a video game, is the player to know where he has to go and the objective of each scene. This scene is a link to the end of the game, of course, and it's also to close the loop and begin with this scene. And when you know the end of the game was something we really wanted to have, so we can see all the FX, and we got one FX artist, very talented, Thomas. Here you can see a lot of his work, all the particles, the tornado.
we took a lot of time to work on this tornado, because when you're working on an episodic game, it's important to still hook the player from episode 1. So that's the kind of discussion we had about the reason to when should we put something that has a bit more impact and that feels something that shows the player that there is something bigger. So this introduction was a bit like that. We wanted in Life is Strange the player to always know what Max is knowing and to just be with her. At this moment, Max doesn't know where she is and the player doesn't know it either.
Isso é interessante, tipo, basicamente
We're back to
meteram no sítio o Max, não sei onde é que nós estávamos, não sabemos.
one of the most
Uh.
important setting of the game, of course.
Só agora que me apercebi, os gajos tiveram um cuidado do caralho, mano.
High school is something where the player
Eu sabia que o jogo era bom, mano, não sabia que eles tinham de tomar tanto cuidado a ponto de
is
meterem ela num sítio onde ela não sabia, meterem nós num sítio onde nós não sabíamos ao mesmo tempo.
player say, oh, it's not just a team story. There is more to it. And then, of course, we can go much over than that and twist it and change the characters. But it was an interesting starting point creatively.
This kind of introduction is really important, because in one sequence with some shots you have to discover all the different characters, the main ones, so you will see of course Jefferson, Kate and Victoria.
And it was quite hard to decide between not showing too much, to not break the idea of the game, to not be too big compared to what the game would be after. There is a lot of themes of big ideas on the game, and of course photography is one of it, because photography is still a way to to look back to the past, it's linked to the theme of rewind and time manipulation and nostalgia. And that's one of the reasons why Max came back to Arcadia Bay to attend this photography class.
I think for the player to be like Max back in this town when she don't know everyone, but you've got to respect the schedule. It's really, as a player, something great to discover. Also, the lighting was really important in this scene to break the cliff ambience by this sunny atmosphere and all this light coming from the windows.
And maybe we decided to have a private high school rather than just a regular high school for, of course, for the photography course, but it was also to be able to have less students because we wanted the story to be a bit more intimate. We didn't want it to be like
Filhos da...
so many students.
Ok, os gajos são génios.
Player is doing. You can really
Eles diminuíram o número de estudantes ao fazer uma escola privada com o único objetivo de poderem focar mais em cada um. Ok, não, que filhos da puta, mano, que génios.
how episodic is hard because if you look closely at this poster there is a mistake.
Mano, é que são merdas óbvias, mas que se fosse eu não ia pensar assim tão simples.
Yeah, when actually it's not that in episode 5. It's
É algo que tipo,
we have a really great
se fosse eu iria levar muito tempo a pensar.
and people found out this mistake, and yes, it is a mistake. It's when in episode 5 we found out that we couldn't be a museum. It was too big, so it has to be an art gallery. So we changed the name, and yes, there is a mistake like this in episode 1.
Acabaram de falar de um erro, ao menos isso. Tipo, eles também não estão a esconder os erros, eles estão a falar os erros e tudo. Isso é interessante.
Being part of a world high school, so it means a lot of people. It means bullying. It means difficulties when you're a teenager in this kind of world.
Showing the different cliques and different kind of teenager.
I think a lot of players love this introduction. The use of music here is really important. Is as Max feels insecure in this atmosphere, we wanted her to isolate. The music is a great way of isolate yourself when you just want to be on your own. And so since the beginning of the game, we were working with licensed tracks, licensed music. We test when we testing and prototype some scenes. We put some licensed tracks from artists we love. Scene Matters was one of them. And when we asked Jonathan Morali, who is the lead of Scene Matters, if it's possible to use his music, he's a gamer, so it was really happy to have this new experience. And for us, it's just incredible to work with him. And this kind of editing is really, really difficult to do because you have to choose the important moment in a song and to choose the right images.
Because our writer Jean-Luc has written many scenes built around music. The edit is based on the music. It's not the other way.
The music is really important in the game. It explains a lot about the characters because the choice of the music, the choice of the artist means a lot. For example, Chloe won't listen to the same artist as Max. For the anecdote, for this guitar part, we asked the lead singer of Scene Matters to take his guitar and to play on top of Gonzalez's song in a clumsy way to be sure that it would be like Max playing guitar.
Mano, os filhos da puta tiveram atenção a vários detalhes e conseguir com que, tipo, e saber agora, tipo, que o gajo que toca as músicas de Life is Strange, pelo menos as primeiras, é um jogador, é bastante interessante. Mas os gajos tiveram atenção a uns detalhes do caralho, pediram a ele para ele tocar por cima da música apenas para, tipo, aparecer bué da Max a tocar e não, tipo, parecer apenas que foi retirado da música. Mano, que génios de merda, mano. É que eu estou a xingá-los, mas é tipo aquele xingamento de eu estou a idolatrá-los, basicamente. Os gajos são uns génios. Que é isto? Eu acho que idolatrar mais do que estes, talvez só os gajos que fizeram Outer Worlds, não. Outer Worlds era óbvio, tipo, esquece. Tipo. Mano, Outer Worlds aquilo é um nível de detalhe e cuidado que filhos da mãe. Mesmo assim, isto é muito bom. Está muito bem feito. Vamos lá, intenções. Olha, outro. Ok, nós vamos ter este pequeno problema sempre, toda a vez que estivermos a começar. Aparentemente estar em live e estar a ver estes vídeos não está a poupar o meu computador.
So the objective of this scene was to go into the bathroom.
Estou a falar da cena de banheiro no início.
Here's a great sound walk. Sebastian, the violist, plug, you can hear more the ambience. And this kind of art is done by our main concept artist. We got like 4 concept artists working on the game. With Edouard, who has made a lot of artwork.
was the one
concept artist.
So basically, in the beginning, we do a lot of documentation, like we do a lot of research from all those pictures we can find on the internet. Every room, every character needs to tell you a story, who they are, what they do.
And just for following the scene, even for the mood when it's still the rhythm of the game. So we wanted this scene in the bathroom to have a really cold and harsher and more contrasty lighting, to be different from the soft and warm lighting from the art class before.
Seeing this scene, there was here one of the mistakes.
Mais erro?
with the
Qual é que
game.
foi?
For example, when Max is
Oh, yeah.
tearing apart Polaroid. In fact, I don't know if you have tried to tear apart a Polaroid, but it's quite impossible.
Yeah, you
Eh,
can. We tried it. You can't do it. It's
So-
too strong. It's
so
plastic,
it's a
and
kind
it's
of,
impossible to tear it like she does.
But of course, there is a lot of symbolic behind this, and so
Ou seja, não daria para rasgar a foto.
even if it's non-realistic, maybe it's a bad Polaroid quality, and we can do it. So you can see the butterfly coming in from the window. There's a lot of symbol behind this. The butterfly, of course, with all the butterfly effecting, and the fact that Chloe has got
Some butterflies on her tattoo and the color of her hair based
Yeah.
on.
Pera, eu não vi que a Chloe tinha tatuagens de borboleta. Como é que eu não vi isso?
Butterfly is really, really important, and of course, at the end of the game, it's much more important.
One of the fans' favorite, and of course a character we really love, Chloe. She's one of the most important characters, because at the end the choice is about her. It was really important to create this character the best way possible, so the player would learn to care more and more about her. But we really wanted her to be not that nice at the beginning. So when she's evolving during the different episodes, and she's getting nicer to Max, people would care even more about her because she changed, and she liked the fact that she changed. If she was the nicest person from the beginning, it wouldn't be, I think, as effective that her going forward and changing toward Max.
Sometimes some players hated Chloe during the first episode, and I think it's not a bad thing, because you can dislike a lot of things about her personality, and after in episode 3, and of course at the beginning of episode 4, there was really something more to this character, and I think it's like having in real life with a friend. There is always some things you don't like. The relation between Max and Chloe talk about that, and I think it's really interesting to see how the player will learn to like.
Mano, eu
more
estou
and
sem
more.
palavras. Os filhos da mãe têm atenção a cada detalhe, mano. Como é que é possível? Tipo, os gajos literalmente fizeram a Chloe ser filha da mãe no início com um objetivo. Mano,
It's a really intimate story, and
eu não sei o que falar.
it's mostly just centered on just emotional moments. All of the major choices that you make in the game are emotional. The heart of it is the relationship between Max and Chloe. It gets really dark, and things get really hard for Chloe and really emotional.
In the game, one of our goal was also to be able to talk about real life issues, about some social themes and difficult themes that can be experienced in real life. I mean, it's different to other games where there are bigger issues like situation of life or death or war or stuff like that. And in this game, we wanted really to focus on more human issues on a smaller level.
The mood of the game and the themes of the game. It's the themes that we tackle in the game are not something that you see often in other games. We try to be mature about it. We try not to force it onto players, and we try not to be too brutal about it.
We have issues like domestic violence, family issues,
So talk about drugs, alcoholism,
and
depression.
unemployment.
It's part of a reality, and I think it was really important for us to not avoid that. And I think it's a great video game is also a great media to talk about that, because as a player you will be involved maybe more than just looking at a movie or reading a book. You will be really part and actor of this experience.
We were not sure that Square Enix, the publisher, would approve all the scenes, the intense scenes we have, and how we deal with them. And really early in the discussions, we were relieved to see that they didn't want to change anything. They just wanted to make sure that we deal properly with scenes or themes, and this is exactly what were our intentions. So.
Ok, aqui a Square Enix fez muito bem, não os impedir. Viram um jogo magnífico.
The one is the first time you see Nathan and Chloe. First scene with the character is really, really important. We've got a lot of information to give to the player.
We needed to show that Nathan was quite a troubled child, a teenager, I mean. So this is him talking to himself at the beginning. We have to fine tune and to find the good words to use. Then we see Chloe for the first time. We have to show what's her character. So she's direct and a bit pushy to Nathan. We need still to understand what's happening. So they're talking about money, about drugs. We had to find the right hints to give to explain things. So we don't want to lose the player.
Ok, mano, sinceramente, estes gajos surpreendem-me. Mano, cada vídeo destes está-me a fazer gostar mais de Life is Strange, mano. Tipo, os detalhes, puta que me pariu. Mano, se a Chloe ter sido um bocado mais agressiva no início, se isso tudo são detalhes que eles estiveram atentos, que eles até sabiam do erro da foto, tipo, não daria para rasgar, mas eles meteram só mesmo por causa do simbolismo e isso tudo. Mano, se eles estiveram atentos a tantos detalhes, eu não quero imaginar quando nós podíamos andar a tirar aqueles colecionáveis, mano. Aí deve estar lotadíssimo, mano, com caralho. Deve estar a dropar ali detalhes para tudo que é canto. Foda-se. Qual é que é este? Eu não vi qual é que era este. A Matter of Choice.
Prescott is a punk ass who begs like a little girl and talks to himself.
You don't know who the fuck I am or who you're messing around with.
Where'd you get that? What are you doing? Come on, put that thing down.
Ever tell me what to do. I'm so sick of people trying to control me.
You are going to get in hella more trouble for this than drugs.
This scene, this is the starting point of Max discovering that she has this weird power, because basically this adrenaline rush and so looking at Chloe getting shot, that's how she can trigger that for the first time, and she don't know really why, but that's the seriousness of the situation. Then you'll go back in the art class. So we really tried on this scene to show the deja vu feeling. So the editing and the shots were there to give this weird feeling to the player that, okay, I'm living that again and again, looking at the different moments that the player saw the first time in this scene.
So yeah, for the editing in this sequence, we wanted to keep the same elements, but not necessarily the same shot. You can see that first 3 shots are the same, I think, and after we begin to change a little the point of view, so you understand that there are the same events going on, but just seeing from a different point of view. And
I think, to be perfectly honest, we don't have a good explanation for why she's going back to the art class, because we needed it
I've
for...
got one, but I will.
Nem eles têm a explicação. Não, eu aqui eu pauso mesmo. Eles fizeram uma merda que nem eles têm a explicação. Tipo, porquê que nas outras partes do tempo ela volta tão pouco e agora ela voltou tudo para a classe? Eles não sabem. Ok, este é talvez o maior furo do jogo inteiro. E eles não têm solução. Olha, tenho a teoria, mas não vou contar. Ai não, eu estou a adorar. Não esquece. Eu estou a adorar esta equipa. Na boa, se eu tivesse chance de conhecê-los, eu conhecia-os, mano. Esquece, esta equipa é magnífica, mano. Que é isto?
I don't think it's a mistake, because we also needed to explain to the
Não há
player
erro.
so the player can learn how things are working. And
Não é um erro. Tipo, porque eles têm de voltar atrás para explicar coisas, etc.
have Max go back to the art class, which, even if it's a bit contradictory with how her power works after that. We are using this to explore more of Max's personality, of the characters, and because that's the way we created the character. Max, as we've seen that with what she's thinking, she has a lot of insecurity, she has issues to go forward in her life, to take decisions, and now she has this ability to not going forward but going even backward. So it's an interesting storytelling device to question with her character and with the player, of course, to question choice and consequence.
Só tem uma merda que eu quero que eles respondam, se não for neste vídeo, se for nos próximos. Porque é que ela tem a visão do tornado antes de ter o poder? Ou foi a visão que lhe deu o poder e ela só ativou ali pela primeira vez? É que agora estou em dúvida. Eu estou em dúvida se ela ativou ali pela primeira vez, mas ela tem o poder desde o tornado, ou desde nascença, I don't know. Ou se a visão ocorreu antes e ela só recebeu o poder depois. Porque se for isso, porque é que ela teve a visão antes? Isso que me baralha. Tipo, não... Eu gostaria de saber a resposta disso. Era interessante se eles me respondessem isso.
To question fate, to question really interesting issues.
I think Max would never have changed as much as here in our story without this power and without this sci-fi element. So it puts the player in a very interesting position because she will ask himself why he's doing some interaction. He can undo the interaction and try something else. But also Max, by doing this, will ask herself, am I doing the right decision? Is it the good choice or not? So we deconstruct the mechanism of classic adventure game just by adding this power and the fact that you can undo things and try another things.
Of course, in most games, you can do it with quick save, quick load, but it's like you said, it's only the player who do that, and that's one of the main themes of the games. That if I had the power to rewind and to change things, should I do it? Because sometimes it can be really seen as lying, as if I say a lot of things that you don't like, and if I go back in time and don't say them to try to, so you're not angry at me, it's a bit tricking. So we are really asking those questions, and in the beginning of the game, we are letting the player and Max do it a lot. She's getting to make a lot of friends with this rewind. But later in the game, and especially in episode 5, we are really questioning this to see maybe it wasn't the right thing. Maybe what you did to try to lie to people with your power, was it really good? And that's something that can be interesting for the story, but also to ask the player at a moment.
I think this is what we wanted to do also with this game, to show that it's difficult to make the choice, and it's even more difficult to live with it, but you have to learn to do that.
And even if you could hesitate a lot, there is no perfect way to do things.
Okay, if I'm crazy, I might as well go all the way. Can I actually reverse time?
So that basically that the first time the player will actively rewind. So we have Max thinking that okay, I just got back in time. I'm in the art class, and so that's why we made her break her camera, because we needed to have an element that the player will see that we will rewind. So we can really explain how do you rewind. So Max broke her camera, and then she's thinking, okay, if I got back in time, maybe I can try to do it again and revert that. So that's the first real rewind the player is actively doing. It's okay. We don't really want the players to use the rewind all the time. But since it's important in the beginning of the game to really show the player the tools he have, and it was important for us to have this in this scene, to have a lot of use of the rewind, so he can really, okay, I know how it is now, and now I decide if I use it or not.
I hope I have enough time to get to the bathroom.
Ela aqui já nem mete os coisas.
I can't tell anybody. They'll think I'm crazy.
Since we are really playing the game with the point of view of Max, for her not everything is clear, so it shouldn't be clear for the player. So, but there is a lot of hints that should really guide the player.
Tipo, ela nem meteu a música. Agora é que eu vi que isso é outro detalhe. Ela não meteu a música ao sair da sala porque ela está com pressa. Eu não tinha reparado nisso. Eu pensava que ela metia a música de novo. Oh, puta que me pariu. Eu não tenho 10 segundos para a porcaria da minha vida. Guys, 5 segundos. Onde é que está aquela merda? Hein? Ai, puta que pariu. Onde é que... Vamos lá, mais um manido. Vambora. Foda-se os botes, caralho. Isto é bote para tudo calado. Mas como eu estava a falar, tipo, é um detalhe interessante. Tipo, o facto dela retirar, dela não meter os auriculares tipo, ao sair da sala pela segunda vez porque está com pressa. É algo que eu não tinha reparado.
Spirit animals, we have the doe, and Rachel, and it's basically somehow a presence of Rachel that's guiding Max at moments. I'm not sure that a lot of players noticed that, but in episode 2 actually, when you see the door in the junkyard, it's precisely where Rachel.
Nem fude, eu não reparei nisto. O viado. Agora eu entendi o viado. Agora eu entendi o viado. Eia, mano.
This mystic feeling around the town, and since we didn't want to clearly explain everything, it's part of what makes Arcadia Bay a bit different and a bit special.
Mano, eu não tinha reparado nisso, mano. Eu não tinha reparado que o viado aparece no sítio onde a Rachel está. Eia, mano, ok. Agora eu fui surpreendido. Muito forte. Pronto, mais um reabastecer. O jogo deve-me odiar. Está sempre a reabastecer ligações. Como odiar uma pessoa. Tutorial. Qual é que é este? Deixa-me ver.
So here we're
O mundo vívido.
a bit of the junkyard scene.
Yes,
So
in
it's
episode
we love the junkyard scene because a lot of different elements, but the first one I think is the environment. I think the environment artists have made something incredible here.
For Life is Strange, we really wanted to have a stylized rendering. We didn't want it to be realistic, or so every texture has been hand painted to give this impressionistic feeling. And I think in the junkyard it's really interesting because there is so many details that's where this kind of simpler texture are working well. Because if this scene was overly detailed with cracks in the rust and everything, it would become really noisy to look at. We did a lot of work on the lighting effects and the atmosphere, so it was really important for us to capture this morning feeling with very cold colors in the fog, but a slightly warm sun that just bring some soft and warm feeling to the scene.
This scene is also a good example of what we want to do in terms of environmental storytelling. We've got a lot of different objects who are there and who have their own story. And
Okay, let's do this. Can you find 5 bottles while I prep the shooting range?
Beer and guns? Nice combo.
You can handle it. Now go find us 5 bottles.
this is one of the
pretty
best
please.
puzzles of the game, I think.
I think it is. I think
The-
I think it's mostly the final bottle that was really hard to find, and we did a mistake on it because it was maybe too well hidden. Our goal at first
erro.
was to allow the player to push the player to visit the place while
Espera. Eles fizeram um erro por escondê-lo demasiado bem.
looking for those bottles.
Qual é que estava demasiado bem escondida?
To discover. Basically, the junkyard is where Chloe brought Max to try her power, but it's also where Chloe and Rachel were hanging out together before Rachel disappeared. So this place here was this small hideout for Chloe and Rachel, and we tried a lot of what we did in the whole game with environmental storytelling can be seen here because there is a lot of everything that we really like to do to tell with environment. It's a good way to, of course, to show more to the player. So it's
And it's also to give rewards to the player who want to know more about the characters and who is curious. Because you can do this whole scene without looking at every details, but
there is some hidden stuff. This one is harder to find. I think that
Eu não vi isso.
every player find it. But
Eu não vi isso.
later that Chloe
You can tell how much I want to read this letter since I'm being recognized to give you to you. Mano, eu não vi esta carta. Eu não vi esta carta, mano. Como é que eu não vi a porcaria desta carta?
that Rachel was
E é da Rachel para a Chloe.
right to Chloe and maybe never gave it to her. In Life is Strange, we really tried to put a lot of attentions to the details. So we have a lot of various levels of things, and if you look around, you can find some really small details that are useless to the main story, but interesting.
Actually, we start to play with that, putting more and more things in corner, in dark area, to see if the player
Yeah.
can spot it or not. And usually they did.
They noticed things that we thought they could not notice, like on a shirt we have letters that when you put in the right order it says no fucks given, and they noticed.
Nem fodendo, não, eu não percebi isso. Nem fodendo que ela com eles chateava. Não, eu não vi isso. Nem fodendo.
I don't know about this.
Os detalhes, mano.
Oh, boo-hoo, Max is afraid. I know you can handle this, and I'm here to guide you. Make me proud, sister.
Life is Strange really is a game about choice and consequences. So we have a lot of choice you can make in the game, which will have consequences later on in the same episode or in the other episode. And there is one big choice in this scene, right, that will happen.
The idea for each choice is really to have not easy choice to take, even if it's not the life or and death choice, like you would have in other game, or it's more everyday life choices. The importance is really to make your own and to decide to live with it. So that's why with the max power it's of course more difficult, because you can try a choice, you're not sure, you're going to rewind and you're going to make the other one, but the important is if you want to continue and to move on, you have to keep on one and live with the consequence. So this is in this choice
This
in
one is
particular.
interesting.
Se eu não me engano, eu atirei no gajo, só que não tinha balas.
First one.
I don't think I would shoot a guy anyway, so I would say.
So we won't shoot. So you can see directly some consequence, means you don't have gun anymore because Frank is going to take it. Chloe will be pissed off.
You can of course rewind and try the other one. But something that's really interesting, because it was a lot of work at the beginning, because we were thinking that if you have the rewind, does it not completely destroy the fact that you are making choices? And actually, we've seen that players are really hesitating. We've watched some let's play video, and we've seen players just, even if they knew that they could go back, they were hesitating so much when they make a choice. I think it's interesting.
Por acaso, agora que eu vi, foda-se, porque se eu podia voltar atrás, tipo, porque a coisa estava tanto nas escolhas, caralho. Mano, estes gajos estão a apanhar umas cenas muito fundas no poço. O problema é que é real, porque a coisa estava tanto, caralho. A maior parte das escolhas, eu nem hesitei tanto. Acho que nesta escolha de atirar não hesitei tanto, eu só tipo cliquei para atirar e o filho da puta da pessoa estava sem balas. Na final eu não hesitei, eu escolhi salvar a Chloe, foda-se, arcade bem. Mas em algumas houve um hesitamento do caralho. Eu pensei muito a fundo, eu pensei tipo, posso usar isto mais à frente, mas na verdade não podia. Tipo, eu acho que o problema foi, na maior parte das escolhas, eu estava a pensar muito mais a fundo do que devia. Mesmo assim, topzinho. Vamos lá ver este. Qual é que é o nome deste que eu não vi? Capturando o momento. Tá.
Here will be out of the campus for the first time for the
Yes.
player. So this is the first time the player will be able to use his power when he wants. He can do before, but there is no so many interaction and puzzles. Here there is we really wanted to have a lot of different things to do, talk with people, use the power just to see fun stuff.
But we use this kind of environment for the players who like to take their time and just to talk to characters, to look around. It really gives a sense of presence to Max, to the world.
The important aspect of the game is really to give some rewards to the player who want to do that and want to take his time. So with this kind of sequences, for example, we give what we call a reward, but in fact it's just new element of the game. For example, here you will have new layer of music. You can hear some new layer of music. You will have all those camera shots that you can't have inside
Yeah, what you're
classic
saying.
walkthrough and classic gameplay in third person. So this kind of beautiful shots you have only because you have chosen to take your time and to sit on the fountain. So the music, the shots, and of course the voiceover of Max also at the beginning. We hear what Max is thinking just here. So this kind of rewards will push, we think, the player to do that again and again. So this is really something we wanted to have.
In this game, it's always feeling a bit like what Max is feeling, and it was we really wanted to focus on those moments. It was really capturing the moment when you can really take your time to reflect on yourself, and that's what Max is doing in those scenes. That's something that not a lot of games are doing, to let the player take his time, because in a lot of games it's just like you need to go forward, you need to go to this checkpoint, you need to do this and this.
Since the beginning we wanted the rewind to be a tool that the player can use when he wants, where he wants. It won't be scripted rewind sequence, for example. On a technical point of view, you have to record all the different things that happens in the scene.
Since you can rewind time, you can basically be at any part of the scene at any moment you like. Designing puzzles with the rewind was very, very hard. When you think it's done, you think you've seen everything about it, you think the situation is in place and it's going to be working well. There's always this tiny little thing that's fucking it up.
Eu não acredito que ele desse mais no vídeo. Tá, mano, o gajo literalmente. Isto aqui. Se eu tivesse o jogo instalado, dava para ver dentro do jogo, se não me engano. Não tenho certeza. E tipo, lá está lá um membro da equipa a dizer mais nela ainda meio. Mano, não sei porquê. Eu acho que se eu estivesse na equipa, eu seria esse gajo a dizer asneiras. Seria eu. Tipo, mano, eu só digo asneiras. Se eu estivesse na equipa, era eu que estava a dizer asneira. Só vou admitir, mas não sei porquê. Isto foi uma. Mano, o gajo a dizer asneira, não sei porque pegou-me. Eu não estava nada à espera que o gajo fosse dizer asneira.
Restore the particle system in the same state.
Do not forget I need those papers before tonight. Like now. Thanks, Sherry.
And this is the dormitories. This is also something that was interesting for us, is to talk about dorm life. We wanted to use this setting because we can really talk about social issues, like the girls have their room. Do you really like the people who live next to you? How the relationship are working inside the dormitories? Like right now, it's interesting if you have different music that can come from the different rooms. It's a really interesting setting to set up a lot of characters easily.
Here the idea is really to again have this believable universe of the students. We have to focus on what we want to tell and what we want to develop.
In each episode, Alisa is getting hit or in danger by something, and you can decide or not to use the rewind power to warn her and to.
Mano, a Alissa, coitada. Isto daqui foi tipo o quê? Pai, 6 vezes que a gajo deve perigo mais.
Also the Kate story and this kind of stuff is not just here to have fun. It's also to talk about those difficulties you can have when you can be someone like Alisa and having this kind of problems.
And it's always a way to find the little detail and little elements that will bring more to the characters, how we are defining them, without sometimes telling too much.
So this is the same actress as Chloe.
Yeah,
The two main actresses who are playing Max and Chloe did also the other students, and so you can. There is some of Chloe inside each one of them. You can see Max and Chloe here. The body animation is done in motion capture on this project. We've done a lot of shooting in motion capture with French companies. The two main, so Max and Chloe, like for the voice actor, in fact, they are always played by the same actress, Serena and Gabrielle. So all the body language and the body animation you will see in the game are done by them. And so in each scene we discuss about the scene with them, and they add some. Both of them, they have given something to the character, even for Max, because Serena was a bit shy at the beginning of the project, and at the end of the project she was different, and we can see the evolution of Max inside her acting. So
Who did you tell?
The principal. But he didn't seem to believe me.
The principal? Are you still 12? That drunk jackass only cares about cash for Blackwell Academy. Don't
Chloe send Chloe. Chloe send Chloe.
this
is the first time we will really see the Max universe by discovering a room. So let's go inside.
It was a really important scene for us because you're playing as Max in the game, so you already start to know some about her with what happened before in episode 1. But when you enter her room, it's really her universe. It's everything in this room should describe her, who she is, why she is like this, and speak a bit more about her past.
There's quite a lot in this room, in fact, compared to the... Because we tried, I think, episode after episode also to focus on different things, and we can't put too many objects in a room.
If you want to play a character for 5 episodes, you need to invest in this character, and all those kind of details and were really important to make a connection between the player and Max, to learn a bit more about what she experienced before and maybe also why she is how she is right now. Something we really wanted to have with Max's room is also to have a great contrast between Max and Chloe. So it was really important to have those two characters. Max and Chloe are really different. They are quite opposite.
Diferentes, oposto? Foda-se! Uma faz uma merda, a outra faz tipo uma merda totalmente diferente, mas mesmo totalmente, mano, oposto é pouco, tem de inventar uma nova palavra para isso. Elas são... Não há palavras. É totalmente diferente, não há palavra, tipo, foda-se. Mano, a Max, calma, reservada. Chloe, foda-se para tudo, vambora. Max, um bocado tímida, tipo, tem o poder de voltar no tempo e por causa disso comete erros, mas mesmo assim está sempre preocupada, tipo, sabendo que tem o poder de voltar no tempo. Chloe, foda-se para tudo, tens poder de voltar no tempo, vambora. E é o oposto de tímida, mas o oposto, tipo, muito forte. Eu acho que a Chloe é tipo a personagem do jogo inteiro que conhece mais outros personagens. Agora que eu estou assim. Talvez apenas a Victoria que conheça mais. Mas tirando a Victoria, eu acho que a Chloe é... Não, mas mesmo assim a Victoria não conhece o Fran... Não. Ou se calhar conhece, não sabemos se o Nathan falou do Fran... do outro das drogas já... Na Victoria, agora que eu estou a pensar. Mas já, em princípio a Chloe conhece mais personagens... Ok, tirando a Max também. Porque puta que pariu, vamos admitir, a Max ao longo desta merda toda vira facilmente uma das que conhece mais personagens. Mas tirando a Max, que saiu falando com todo o mundo, incluindo desconhecidos no meio da puta da rua, se nós quisermos fazer isso, eu acho que é a Chloe que conhece mais personagens. Oposto é dizer pouco.
It's at the beginning of the story, so we wanted that her personality and also her universe, her rooms reflect that. And we took for Max is a sort of softer colors. We have the pink in. I think our bed cover is really soft. You have the small cushions with the flowers, the teddy bear.
We've got a lot of different environments in the game, but we wanted really to be able to revisit the environments and to have other scenes taking place in the same environments, but telling different stories and telling different sequences. So, for example, in this room, when you go back here in the house, in the alternate reality, we will find an empty room of an empty Chloe room, and you have been here so many times before the episode 4 with Chloe, having fun with Chloe, listening to music. Going back here without anything, you will directly see what you've lost and what this another reality means for Chloe and for you.
Max, try to find the light for the pool. I want to see the sharks. Otters don't like sharks. They bite. So do I. Hit that light.
I've done the same with the swimming pool, for example. We've got a great scene in the swimming pool between Max and Chloe when they are alone during the night, and after you got this huge vortex party, which is a really different atmosphere. So this is kind of...
On the production point of view, it's basically a brand new environment, but it's still in the same place and with a lot of similarities. So it's really important to show. It was important for us to show the changes that Max can create.
A festa do Clube Vortex foi na... Não, eu reparei que era na... Eu reparei que tinha uma piscina, mas eu não reparei que era no mesmo lugar da piscina anterior. É uma vibe totalmente diferente. Eu não tinha reparado que era a mesma piscina. Eles fizeram um excelente trabalho em separar as vibes.
with our power and the changes to the character and to the world.
Eles fizeram um trabalho magnífico em separar as vibes. Eu não tinha reparado que era outro lugar. Que é outro lugar, não, que era o mesmo lugar. Eu pensava que era outro lugar. Ok, o próximo é problemas sociais. Como sempre, é reabastecer a ligação. Não voltou, foda-se. Está a demorar um bocado. Qual é que é o próximo?
Stop treating me and my mom like we're your family platoon.
Hey, leave Joyce out of this.
I wish you'd leave Joyce, like now.
Espera. Travou, eu não vi a chapada.
Treating me and my mom like we're your family platoon.
Hey,
Espera.
Joyce out of this.
Desde quando é que a Chloe leva uma chapada? Oh.
Seeing this kind of family violence, and it's something you can have encounter as a player. I think we all know some people who got some difficulties, and you can have by yourself also. Here, the choice you're going to take will have consequences on the relation between Max and Chloe, but also on her father.
Mano, eu não cheguei a ver a Chloe a levar uma chapada. Esta é nova.
Hey, you okay? Welcome to the real step douches of Arcadia Bay.
I'm sorry.
For what? He would have been a bigger dick if he caught you in here.
David
Eu não me lembro.
archetypal.
Não, eu acho que fiz a escolha porque eu saía. Eu acho que saí, se não me engano.
Episode after episode, you can see that maybe he's very he's got his own reason to be
He
like
really
this.
should. And I think not at any moment we are justifying the fact that he could beat Chloe or be how it is, but just showing a perspective that not everything is black or white. So we did a lot of research to be sure that we were dealing with those themes in a good way. Pretty much gamifying this, we could really maybe hurt some people, and if we are talking about issues those people have had and not making it right, it could be worse, and it couldn't be the opposite of what we wanted to do, of course.
So here is a Kate character that you have met in the first episode, but not so much. And the episode 2 is really focused on Kate and Kate's story and Kate's difficulties. So
But this scene is a good way again to how we try to advance the story about Kate, but also try to show more of the other characters, Victoria and Taylor. So we are continuing of what was shown about Victoria in episode 1, like of course that she's really a mean person, that she's harassing Kate because she makes fun of her. And so this kind of scene, yes, is we are really trying to advance the story, bring out more of the characters, and of course, great cameras of it.
All over my face. Max Selfie thought she was a badass taking that picture.
we wanted really to talk about all the cyberbullying, the fact that it's quite difficult for teenagers nowadays to be connected as everyone is now. I think everyone has got a phone, is connected always.
We are using the text message a lot, and we are making
Agora que eu estava a pensar que apareceu a Victoria, eu queria saber. Eu tinha uma outra pergunta que eu por acaso gostaria que eles respondessem também. Por que caralho? Lembrando que eu planejei fazer o que eu gostaria de chamar uma run perfeita, basicamente fazer todas as escolhas mais próximo perfeito, para evitar ao máximo mortes. Obviamente, no fim, eu ia mandar tudo com o caralho e ia escolher a Chloe de qualquer jeito, ou seja, ia tudo com o caralho ia, mas até lá eu queria fazer uma que fosse tecnicamente tudo perfeito, então eu estive a ver, entre aspas estudei, estive a ver tipo o que é que cada escolha iria fazer, etc. Porquê que quando nós somos bons para a Victoria, ela fode-se e morre? É uma pergunta que eu gostaria de ter a resposta agora. De preferência vinda deles. Tipo, eu adoraria, provavelmente não vai ser neste, mas eu adoraria que se eles falarem mais da Victoria, explicarem porquê que quando nós somos bons para ela, ela fode-se.
fun with that. We are really thinking about both sides of the social media.
Porque se eu não me engano, se nós avisarmos a ela aquilo lá perto do fim e ela acreditar, o gajo rapta. e mata. Se não estou enganado, é isso que acontece. Porque caralho é que essa merda ocorre com o tipo. Porque caralho é que essa merda ocorre quando nós somos bons para ela? Não me faz sentido.
And you've got this dark aspect of internet which could be really difficult to live. I think a lot of players could recognize some of them inside Kate, and we've received a lot of letters from players who say that help us also to realize what they've been through. Yeah, we wanted to have this scene since the beginning. We are quite happy that we managed to keep it, and work with Square Enix was great for that. We managed to keep a lot of difficult scenes like this one. It's not only about talking about the themes, it's also to be sure that it's anchored inside our story. And here, of course, this experience and the Kate story will push Max to think about her power, to think about the consequences, to think about the relation with other characters.
That's actually the one time in the game where Max's power fails her. So when you arrive on the roof, you are really by yourself.
Deus acorda de fazer um bom ponto. É o único momento em que o poder dela falha. E é o único momento em que eu falhei também. Ou melhor, eu falhei em vários momentos, mas é o momento em que mais falhei, me fodi, foi nesta. Porquê? Porque o poder foi com o caralho. Filhas da mãe. Eu já me fodi em alguns outros lugares, mas o poder ainda coisava, então eu meio que considero que nem tive falhas. Isto é talvez uma que foi aquela do início que eu fiz uma escolha que mais nos episódios à frente é para mim. Mas tirando isso, foram falhas ou simples ou foram falhas que foram resolvidas pelo poder. Aqui foi uma falha que não foi simples e foi uma falha que o poder mandou-me com o caralho no exato momento, filha da puta.
To talk Kate out of jumping, and this was also the second part of what we wanted to do with this sim, is to show that if you care to the people you like, you can help them, and that's basically what Max has to do at this moment, is really to care about Kate, to show her that she knows her, that she's her friend, and to really take out of jumping. I think that's something that was interesting on writing all these scenes, and is even in episode 1, you know, Kate was written as somehow as some type of archetype. She's a bit religious. She's for abstinence. She has this basically pro-life ideas. So maybe some of the players could think that she's boring character, but the way we evolved her and write her in the other episode, we really wanted to show that even if you go past the first appearance of someone, that's something that you might feel not interesting or different to you, you can find really good things and interesting things in each person. And I was really happy the way that the community reacted to Kate as a character.
We didn't want to gamify this kind of scene.
We still have to have rules for how the things, even if it needs to be really in the background and for the player to not to see those rules. But in the end, we still need to create the scene with the scripting and a way to make it work. So it was really hard to find the good balance to make it feel the more transparent as possible for the player, and just find a good way to have the feeling that it's really a dialogue between Max and Kate. And it was a really hard one to write. There is a lot of branches, there's a lot of variations, and I think even in the voice recording it took a really long time.
Yeah.
It was one full session just for Hannah and Diane, who plays Kate. It was really important for us to keep this going after the episode, and not just okay, we have done the scene and so no, we go to the following of the game.
I'm going to be here for another day until my family comes out.
Espera. Ok, isto é o que acontecia se ela tivesse vivido. Aparentemente ela foi para o hospital e nós podemos ir visitá-la. Ok.
How are they treating you? Like they need to protect me forever. They're so upset, and I know they feel guilty even though they didn't do anything. I was surprised how many.
We wanted to talk about this theme of euthanasia, but to find a way to talk about it that would be respectful for any sort of position, because it was really important to not try to say this is right, this is wrong, and to let the player really see how he wants to play this scene at this moment based on what he felt for the situations, for Chloe, for her parents and everything. And that was that was not easy to find this balance when doing that.
And again, it's because it's interactive and it's a video game that this scene is so strong. I think you should just see a scene and just okay, this is the director point of view and that's it. I accept it or not, but here it will be your choice. You really have to take your time and think about it before making your choice. So,
and we've seen all kind of reactions. We've seen players who immediately say, "No, I can't do it," or other players who immediately accept what Chloe is asking. Of course, it's Chloe, I'm accepting, and a lot of others who are hesitating for 5-10 minutes or so. And I think that we've been.
Eu aqui eu hesitei. Eu não me lembro se aqui eu hesitei ou não. Eu acho que não hesitei aqui. Ou hesitei. Não sei. Não me lembro.
I like that we did that, but we've been a bit mean to the player because we give them a third choice of maybe I cannot take any choice on this, but then you have still to take a choice.
Yeah.
But I think it was stronger because it was what we wanted to do with that is to show that at a point you have to take responsibility for your actions and decide something. You cannot get an easy way out.
Ok. Sinceramente, eu gostaria de ver os últimos dois, mas nós chegámos a um momento em que eu tenho mesmo de fazer outras coisas, não tenho mais tempo para estar aqui, ou seja, infelizmente, por hoje vamos terminar por aqui, fica provavelmente para amanhã os últimos dois, que é Getting Things Right e Voice of Arcadia Bay. Ou seja, amanhã temos aqui um de 9 minutos e um de 8 minutos, ou seja, 17, 18 ou 19 minutos, não estou aqui para fazer os cálculos, deve ser à volta desses valores, não estou aqui para fazer os cálculos rapidamente. 17 minutos, ok, fiz os cálculos, foda-se. 17 minutinhos, ou seja, é interessante, mas em princípio vai ser pequeno amanhã isto aqui. Ou seja, vamos ter de dividir isto em dois episódios. Um dos episódios, 1h02. O outro episódio, 17 minutos. Vai ser bonito, vai. Eu estou a ver mesmo no YouTube o pessoal tipo a ver. E aí do nada, ok, tem aqui as coisas dos diretores. Vamos ver. Um dos episódios, 1h e pouco. O outro episódio, 17 minutos. What the fuck é que se passou aqui?